Many ranking videos and tier lists you may have seen probably used the wiki for their stats, but some of this data, especially the fire rate, is simply not correct. Yeah, the internet lied. So today we'll be using valid, tried and tested data. We're looking at practical stats like damage per second and time to kill in order to create an official, objectively biased tier list ranking all 21 weapons in Arc Raiders. And by the way, we're doing PvP and PvE tier list individually. It simply wouldn't make sense otherwise. It's interesting because even though we have color-coded rarities, many of these guns supersede those rankings, and this here is a prime example, the Stitcher. Now checking the stats, it only takes 19 bullets to down a medium shield raider, but with a decent magazine attachment, your Stitcher can have 25 to 30 bullets, leaving lots of room for mistake. Throw a muzzle brake on there to reduce the recoil, and boom, got yourself a reliable SMG for super cheap. Now, its range is straight dookie, but the Stitcher can dominate close quarters combat against other raiders, giving it a solid A tier for PvP. But then, unfortunately, it's one of, if not the worst for fighting Arc, so low C tier for PvE. Some people immediately classify the hairpin as doo-doo dog water hot trash, while others argue for its value, saying it's good for stealth or it deals high damage. But let's get real here, folks. It is doo-doo. Listen, I feel like I understand Embark's vision for this weapon. If you're deep into OG Navy SEAL history, or you just watch a lot of anime, you may have heard of Hush Puppy pistols. Now, these are designed in a way to be as silent as possible, and these Hush Puppies have a manual sliding mechanism, exactly like the hairpin. But dude, a stealthy ninja hitman is simply not very viable in this game. It's cool, of course it's cool, but not effective. Also, the hairpin's got the worst, the slowest time to kill of any weapon besides the Pharaoh. It's also got the lowest range stat of any weapon, other than shotguns, bro. Shotguns. So yeah, the stealth factor alone is not valuable enough to balance this out, so there is no chance you're convincing me it's good in any capacity other than to pretend you're a ninja sneaking around. In fact, it gets its very own tier all to itself, D tier, D for dog water. Now here we have a juicier weapon, the Rattler. So of course, right off the bat, its main downfall is its super slow reloading. It's of course a big problem, but for actual combat effectiveness, it's a monster. It takes just 15 bullets to down a raider, so a level 3 or 4 Rattler can easily one mag a raider. Just look at the stats. Rattler technically has more range than the Pharaoh. It can play the star of the show as your primary battle rifle because it has great range and damage, or you can tuck it on the side as a quick fire secondary weapon for close combat. I mean, fairly accurate automatic weapons are scarce in this game. The only other automatic gun with a decent accuracy and range is the Purple Tempest, and the Tempest is essentially a Super Saiyan version of the Rattler. Yet, if you compare the actual combat effectiveness of Tempest versus the Rattler, there's not a significant difference, at least not enough to make up for the extreme difference in price and accessibility, considering the Tempest is one of the rarest weapons. I'm saying all this just to showcase how valuable the Rattler can be in a fight. By default, it is trash. Hopefully you don't get it in a free loadout, but throw an insignificant amount of resources into it, upgrading to tier 3 or 4, and it rises up with a huge power level boost, like a brand new anime transformation. High B tier, the king of B tier for PvP, and C tier for PvE. Here we have the coolest potato launcher I've ever seen, the Kettle. Firstly, it's got style points, which I'll discuss more, and secondly, it has a high skill ceiling. You can shoot it quite quickly and doink headshots if you're a skilled player. If you got that Call of Duty trigger finger juiced up with Mountain Dew. Also, because it's air propelled, the weapon has low velocity and loses accuracy at range, but that's part of the charm. You know, it showcases how these raiders are duct taping together scrap metal and whatever junk they can find, transformed into a legitimate weapon that can blow off ears and noses and other human orifices. It's just awesome, man. It's cool shit, just cool shit. Now the kettle comes with 20 bullets and only needs 13 shots to kill a medium shield raider. So even a tier 1 base kettle can down a raider with a single magazine. At first I love this weapon, dude, but the fact is it becomes obsolete fairly quickly. Like even when upgraded, it's not a true close combat weapon like a good SMG, and it's also not fantastic at range either. I will say though, the kettle can be a great option for very cheap loadouts, like if you're just taking a single cheap weapon into a raid, because it is versatile. It's not excellent at any one thing, but it's alright. It's alright, it's medium across the board. Versatile. In conclusion, I'd say upper end of C tier for PvP and about middle of C tier against arcs. And now here's the Pharaoh, the cheap Walmart sniper. But dude, sometimes you find some good shit at Walmart. Although the Pharaoh is not what it seems to most people. It is indeed the perfect starter weapon to eliminate arc. It's also reliable for dealing damage to players at a distance and cracking shields. Like dude, that's the moment everyone falls in love with this game. The first time you use the Pharaoh to crack a skull and hear that shield break from 30 meters away. Alright, but typically, you're not truly downing raiders from start to finish with your Pharaoh. It's more of a combo gun, and mostly only viable at medium range. Now, some people claim the Pharaoh is straight dookie in close combat, but nah, it's not that bad. Honestly, it's not too shabby. If you're a Chad, you can quickscope with the Pharaoh. Landing shots is fairly easy. The real problem is not dealing enough damage, because the Pharaoh has the slowest time to kill of any weapon. Even when fully upgraded, its time to kill is still over 11 seconds. That's kind of bonkers, dude. However, given the fact that it's so accessible and so reliable, you gotta give it a decent ranking. So high B tier for PvP and bottom of A tier against the arc. So let's jump into all the green uncommon weapons and compare the anvil. Alrighty, think about this, dude. I have done the mathematics, and crafting a Pharaoh, then fully upgrading it all the way to tier 4 is far cheaper than simply crafting a single anvil. Like no upgrades, just to craft the anvil. And if you compare their fire rates, it's not a drastic difference. So definitely keep that in mind, because me personally, I would probably prefer a level 4 Pharaoh over a base anvil, since the Pharaoh does have slightly higher bullet velocity. But despite all that, the fact remains, if you have plenty of resources, then the anvil upgraded to tier 3 or 4 is certainly a superior weapon. Of course, right? Like at that point, the anvil's fire rate is quite fast and can down a raider much quicker. It's like a single fire shotgun at close range, and it's like a giant pain in my ass from a distance. Lower A tier for PvP and top of A tier for PvE. Dude, this is what I feel like when using the anvil. Now, this is what I feel like when using the Beretta. The only thing the Beretta has going for it is its decent accuracy and its low weight, weighing only 4 embarks. It's effectively the upgraded version of a kettle, but compared to a kettle, it deals the same damage, it has similar range, but the kettle has slightly faster fire rate, and the kettle has almost twice the magazine size. So where is the advantages here? The Beretta does have better stability and accuracy simply because it's a higher quality gun, but it's not a drastic difference. And when you're fighting close range, that slight difference in accuracy is not very impactful. So for PvP, the Beretta loses out to the kettle in C tier, and then I'd say middle C tier for PvE. Here we have the Arpeggio. I don't know what happened to this gun, because in the previous tech test, people were loving it, man. They were glazing the Arpeggio. But now, everyone treats it like the ugly dumpling they're sad to see when opening up a weapon case. It's like getting catfished on Tinder. You were expecting, you were hoping for this, but you open the door and find this.
Oh my goodness!
Now the thing is, if you land all your shots, it actually has a very fast time to kill, the quickest of all uncommon weapons. So if you've upgraded your arpeggio once or twice, plus a couple attachments, then it is indeed a lethal weapon. Extended magazines are also very beneficial because those extra bullets come in clutch for this weapon. They just do. But in the end, I feel like it's simply not worth it to do all that. So unless you're deeply in love with the triple burst fire type, then you're typically better off wielding other weapons. At the very least, it's versatile. It deals with arc drones fairly well, it can get the job done from a distance, while also viable up close. So it's definitely versatile. Bottom of B tier for PvP, and bottom of B tier against arc. Now we have the El Toro shotgun. Dude, this shotgun is the king of close quarters combat, but specifically indoors, like hallways, loot rooms, inside buildings. The Toro is a monster. Of course, a shotgun choke and a stock are nice attachments, but definitely prioritize upgrading the weapon itself to increase the fire rate. Prioritize upgrades, because dude, you can two-shot a light shield raider. So boom, pump, boom, dead. That quick. It's got the highest single shot burst damage in the game. Now, in a first-person shooter like Call of Duty, sprinting around, spraying SMGs, forgetting to wear your deodorant, a pump shotgun isn't always the best. However, in a third-person game with corner peeking galore, a pump shotty can take advantage of high burst damage to great effect. You peek the corner half a second, shoot, dodge roll, shoot, dodge roll. I'm talking about that burst damage, baby. Also, fighting indoors with a shotgun is awesome because many players are not totally fit or prepared for close combat fighting, since many prioritize their primary weapon being an anvil or a renegade or pharaoh. So if you can take the fight inside close quarters combat, you'll almost always have the advantage with a shotgun. Solid A tier for PvP and bottom of B tier against the arc. Now let's enter the blue balls territory. The Renegade. This is effectively the upgraded version of the Pharaoh. Embark certainly meant business with this one, man. They meant business. It's classy, it's respectable. You feel like Clint Eastwood aiming down the sights of an M1 Grand.
I blow a hole in your face and then I go in the house. And I sleep like a baby.
Compared to the Pharaoh or Anvil, the Renegade deals just slightly less damage, but it actually has significantly better range. It's more comparable to sniper rifles in regards to range. High bullet velocity. Another huge factor is the fact that this bad boy doesn't need to recock after every shot, like the Pharaoh. That alone gives it a massive increase to your damage output. After cracking a player's shield, they instantly start panicking, they flopping around trying to find cover, and if you're using the Pharaoh, you may not get a chance at a second shot. But the Renegade offers you the opportunity to land 2 or even 3 shots. So when all stocked up with upgrades and attachments, it may be the best gun in the game. Increasing its fire rate is super beneficial. Shooting this quickly means it can dominate not only from medium to far range, but also up close. So the Renegade's competition, such as the Tempest, Bettina, Pharaoh, Osprey, none of them outmatch the Renegade in terms of playing the role of a rifle. Renegade is the rifle champion. God tier for PvP and A tier against the arc. The Venator will most likely get nerfed, and soon, because at the moment it is bonkers. A weapon like the Renegade is only truly cracked out after a few upgrades and some attachments, but this thing is innately broken. It has similar range to that of the Pharaoh or Anvil, plus it deals nearly as much damage as the Pharaoh or Anvil. Meanwhile, of course, you can shoot it much faster, it's lighter, more agile, all of that. It's a very stable and deliberate weapon offering versatility. And think about this, dude, when upgraded all the way, so a level 4 Venator compared to a level 4 Torrente, they have the same time to kill. Venator has the same time to kill as the Torrente. What the that is absolutely redonkulous, dude, considering the Torrente is an LMG designed for shredding through anything within 5 meters. And it's got downsides to it in order to balance it out, such as its fat ass booty weighing 12 embarks. On the other hand, the Venator is the lightest weapon in the game. It's only 2 embarks. What? Bro, what? It's half the weight of the Berletta? That's just one example of the Venator not having really any downsides to it. Its only downfall may be its low magazine size, but that's not a big problem because you're allowed to add extended magazines. So yeah, dude, many of its stats are just unnecessarily godlike. It will most certainly receive a buff, but at the moment it is God tier for PvP and B tier against the Arc. Now we have the Torrente. This is a beautifully balanced weapon. In its niche, it's a behemoth. It plays its role extremely well, but has downsides to it, so it's not totally overpowered. The weapon is very deadly, but not very accessible. Major obesity seems to be a genetic problem in the Torrente family. However, what makes the Torrente so valuable and awesome is that it's not like a shotgun that can only be used if you're right in somebody's face. The Torrente can do what a shotgun does and eviscerate anything in close combat. Plus, it can also take control and light up an entire hallway, completely lock down a certain space. I mean, think about it, dude. You have between 60 to 80 bullets in a magazine, yet you only need to land 17 body shots to down a raider. Only 17 out of your allotted 80. So even a true scrub muffin can't screw that up. With a 1.2 second time to kill, it is diabolical. I would consider it the king of A tier for PvP and solid B tier against Arc, because it can still deal crazy damage. Here we have the sniper, baby. Is it just me, or does needing to unscope and zoom back in after every shot just a little bit cancer? Like just a little bit cancerous? The Osprey is not a solo man's weapon. It's much more valuable for trios, PvP squad fights. A sniper like this is great for annoying enemies, chipping away at their shields, wearing down their resources. However, it's not great for eliminating a raider from start to finish, unless you've got the high ground, excellent position, or you're straight up doinking headshots. Then the enemy will most likely find cover and heal up before you can take him down, because you need to land 4 body shots to down a full health raider. 4 body shots with a sniper. It's kind of a lot. But in a squad fight, offering sniper support to your team is very nice indeed. If you can land a few shots, crack a few shields, your team will definitely have the advantage. So as a sniper, it's certainly viable. It's just outclassed by other weapons. For better or worse, it's a true sniper. So solid B tier for both PvP and PvE. And now, welcome to Epic class. If the jungle is another word for close quarters combat, then the Volcano is a lion, the king of the jungle, my boy. See, some people may argue the El Toro is overall a better shotgun than the Volcano, considering it's much cheaper, higher burst damage. However, that is simply not true, my fellow jabronis. The Volcano has the fastest time to kill in the game, under a second. Dude, on a healthy heavy shield raider can go down in under a second. That is nutty, bro. Nutty, I say. If you're within 5 to 10 meters of an enemy wielding a Volcano, you're gonna have to dodge roll your ass back behind cover and strategize for a second, because your cheeks will get annihilated in the blink of an eye if you challenge him. Solid A tier for PvP, and maybe bottom of B tier for PvE, possibly even lower. Now, whenever somebody tries the hole cracker for the first time, their response is always something like this.
And
You never imagined a Hornet could be ripped apart so easily by a single shot. And honestly, this is easy mode. There's a reason the hole cracker is the only epic weapon you can purchase in this shop. Embark wants it readily available for everyone. So if you're one of those people who complained that PvP is too hard and the Arc enemies should be nerfed, this is your answer, little man. The hole cracker turns on easy mode fighting the Arc. You can even take down a Bastion by yourself with just just a smidget of skill. And it's cool because it's extremely powerful against Arc, but totally useless in PvP, so it is balanced very nicely. Therefore, this gets absolute 0 D tier in PvP, but it's our first god tier against the Arc. Now we have the Bettina. I believe the Bettina is an arc drone specialist. So listen, it's great at suppressing flying arc, putting them little bitches in their place. The Bettina can shoot out heavy bullets faster than any other heavy type weapon. So if you have plenty of ammo to burn through, you can rapid fire heavy shots and suppress arc enemies. And then for PvP, although it's not necessarily a PvP focused weapon, it is still viable. I mean, it has nearly the exact same time to kill as a Stitcher. So yeah, technically its time to kill is decent. In conclusion, it's a fairly versatile PvE focused weapon, and maybe that's why the blueprint is so common. This game gives out the Bettina blueprint faster than TikTok giving y'all brain rot. Yeah, you know who you are, you know. It's not great for PvP, bottom of B tier, maybe even high C tier, but solid A tier against the Arc. Next up, we have a cat named Bob. Now, without including headshots, it takes 22 bullets to down a medium shield raider. Meanwhile, the Bobcat only offers 20 bullets per magazine, so it's almost necessary to add an attachment. But dude, it's already a purple gun, like Jesus Christmas, what more do y'all want from me? And that's why it seems like it's best for finishing off already injured enemies. You cracked somebody's shield, so then you pull up, and in the blink of an eye, you pounce on them like a true jungle cat, mag dumping your SMG. So it is indeed a very lethal weapon, but is it worth it? How valuable is it? Despite its high fire rate, its actual time to kill is only slightly higher than the Stitcher, like 0.3 seconds faster than the Stitcher. And that's because the Stitcher actually does more damage per bullet. So despite people thinking it has a wicked fast fire rate, you're not realistically killing the enemy much faster. Its main advantage though is the Bobcat's accuracy. It does have better stability compared to the Stitcher. The Stitcher's got doo-doo dispersion, so the Bobcat's more stable with better range. So I'll place this bad boy in A tier for PvP, nestled in comfortably between the Volcano and the Stitcher, and then high C tier against the Arc. Dude, you can run the lobby with a souped up Tempest and a silencer on it. I feel like having a silencer on a Tempest it just works. It just works. If your whole squad is running with a Tempest, nobody should defeat your team in any engagement from medium range. Y'all should be medium range kings. And at this point in time, the Tempest is still a bit rare, which should lower its ranking, its overall ranking, but I still gotta consider this weapon god tier on account of how versatile it is, man. This is the true M16 all-rounder type assault rifle. It's got the range of the Pharaoh with a time to kill similar to the Bobcat. That is nutty. There is no situation the Tempest is unviable. Close, medium, or far range, fighting Arc or Raiders, it is a beast. So the Tempest slips into God tier at the last second for PvP and high B tier for Arc. Now we enter the last two legendary weapons. But hold up. There's a secret weapon nobody talks about, the badass axe. As seen in Fortnite. Now listen, you only need a good 4 strikes to take down a light shield raider. Not too shabby considering you can swing 4 times in about 2 seconds. So you're talking about a 2-second kill time. Not too shabby, I must say. Plus, how often does your axe come in handy when fighting Arc? The roly-poly testicles of death, the turrets? Dude, there's all types of Arc that get beaten down by the axe. So yeah, don't get it twisted, my fine tubby friend. The axe is indubitably a viable weapon. If you really want to have some fun in this game, drop a fat smoke grenade on a raider, then bomb rush with the axe. A barrage of melee attacks hiding from within the smoke. Now the Jupiter is more of a niche weapon. It's here for those people who want to wield a powerful laser beam. Technically, it deals more than 2.5 times the damage as an anvil or Pharaoh. And if you notice, it seems to have near perfect accuracy at all times because it's a laser. Overall though, it is 100% a PvE focused weapon. Therefore, it gets a pretty shitty ranking for PvP. However, still gotta give it God tier against the Arc. And then when it comes to legendary weapons, most people I've spoken to feel the Equalizer is superior over the Jupiter. And that may be the case simply because the Equalizer is a legitimate Gatling gun and everyone loves these things. I mean, if your balls don't tingle a bit when mowing down your target with a giant kahunga like this, then there's something wrong with you, bro. There's something wrong with you. This is the Super Saiyan version of the Torrente, as it can do everything. It can deal hefty damage to leapers or bastions, and it's a perfect weapon to hunt the queen. Plus, it's actually viable in PvP. This Gatling gun can shred through players with ease. Viable in PvP, and of course, godly against Arc. Now I must mention, I had lots of help with this tier list from the best Arc players I know, coming from the Northmen Discord. So if you want to dive in for some legit PvP raids, or hunt the queen, or take down the new Monarch, then feel free to join up. There's a link in the description. But I digress. Now it is your turn, my friend. Please comment below what your favorite weapons are, and share any thoughts on the video. And of course, body slam on that like button. I thank you very much for watching. I truly appreciate all of you, and I'll talk to you later. Stay golden.